Hello, everybody. It's Anita from Llewellyn Arts here. I'm here to share another journal that I finished, and this is my autumn theme journal. One of my favorite themes is autumn. I love the colors and the smells and the textures and all the falling leaves, which we get to enjoy here in Ohio. So I'd like to share the journal with you. I've done a single signature. I've got a soft collaged cover that goes all the way around. I've added some of my own elements to the papers that I started with to try to make it my own at least a little bit. And I've stitched it all the way around in orange thread. I've got an image here and added a fussy cut butterfly, and I've stitched it and layered papers in it to create some depth and used the definition of the word autumn. And I love the binding on this. I put a piece of eyelet on there and found a piece of gold grosgrain ribbon that I ran through that, and I really like that effect. And then added some pretty autumn colored buttons at the bottom, and we'll take a look inside here. On the inside, again, I've layered some papers, fussy cut a butterfly, and the definition of the word blessings. And on the back, the same thing. It's a paper collage and a bird. And I've also layered down the spine for reinforcement a piece of linen cloth. And I really like the look of that too. And I found a secondhand store, a thrift store, a doily that just fit in here. And I didn't have to cut it, didn't have to alter it in any way, just put it in as a page. And I really like the texture and the design on that. So here we have a collage page. Same here, and some coffee dyed paper and a flip out. And I took a photo of an autumn leaf and took it into Photoshop and created what would be the equivalent of a digital stamp, and used Photoshop to alter the colors on that and scatter the leaves on the page and printed that out on vellum. And I really like the look of that. And here's some rice paper. This came from, I think, an address book or some kind of a daily activity book, and it had this autumn vegetable stand and pumpkins, and I added a piece of eyelet there, and here a piece of lace to this edge and fussy cut this pretty butterfly. And on this side, I folded up some cardstock page into two pockets, and in the bottom pocket I've got this tag that I made where I layered this pretty image with some labels and papers and machine stitched. I love to do that, and you could definitely journal on that. And then reduced some of my digital images down and made some journaling spots there. And that would go back in that pocket. And in the back pocket, I've got this digital that I added my own elements to it, and the word abundance, and you could journal here on the inside. And over on this page, just added a strip of book page and a little bit of orange thread stitching. Folded this one up again, made a pocket, and fussy cut this. Love this cute jack-o'-lantern. I had a whole page of those, and I cut that one out for that pocket. And I had a die cut of this cute pumpkin, and I did a couple layers together on that to make that solid enough to be a tag or a journaling spot. Same here, I had some cardstock that I added some layers to it. In the background here is from a quilting magazine, and I love the colors, definitely fallish. Over here, layered some collage, some papers. And on this coffee dye page, did some stitching in orange thread. And again, you could see the layers that I've been working with here, where I tried to layer the eyelet and some of the lace trims along the bottom. Love this layout here across both pages. Here I folded this over to make a pocket, and from the secondhand store found this pretty card, nice for journaling, and I added that gorgeous piece of ribbon. And over here, another coffee dyed, sort of a half page, and I added this pretty bird digital. And you could journal here. One of my favorite cards that I've come across lately at a thrift store. This definitely says autumn to me. It's got everything I love. It's got horses, a beautiful old barn, and definitely some fall trees. And I've added the word home and fussy cut a butterfly. And it's got quotes on it and a salutation here that can be covered up if you don't care for those. And this has a tag that goes in the pocket. At the moment I don't see that, but there it is. This tag, which was made from a strip of paper that I put on my die cutting machine and cut the leaves out, but I saved this would be considered the negative space of the paper and did some, what's the word, some inking, some stenciling work, and was going to toss this page. And then I thought, put something right underneath it. It might make a pretty bookmark or tag, and it did, and it goes right there. And again, that's the leaf that I photographed and made into a digital stamp. And I've got a piece of eyelet trim here, one of my photographs that I aged up a little bit and put on as a page. Some more layers. This is one of my photos, and I put it on a thinner sheet of paper that I printed it on, so I didn't want it as a page in itself, but I thought it made a nice accent on a collage page, so I've put the little tabs on the corner, kind of reminiscent of the old black or white page corners that they used to make. Over here, another tag, some pretty layering, and some eyelet. You could journal on that. And this page is pretty as well, a digital. And over here, a tuck spot or an up pocket, I call it, but it's cardstock, and I've added some, yeah, you know what it is. It's cheesecloth stitched on these pretty buttons, a little bit of trim at the top, stamped some pumpkins here, and made this little booklet. Just took some scraps of coffee dye paper and stitched in here. Lots of space to journal, and that can go back in the pocket or it can go anywhere in the journal. And again, this is coffee dyed. And over here, this is a digital eco print, and I love it. And I printed it out on a page from a shorthand book. We found my mother's high school shorthand book, and it tore a page out, ran it through the printer, and put that eco print on it, and I loved the result on that. So I glued it to the page, and then here I've got packaging paper, and I've added a ruffle of sari silk, a pretty digital here with some brown thread stitching, and I used some burlap, a nice autumn texture, and the word harvest is stamped. And over here, this is where I did the stenciling from these die cuts. I initially did this and ended up with this right along with it, so that was a happy accident. Center of the signature, a pretty spread there, and there's those pretty buttons. And over here, another pretty pocket. I folded this one over, added some stripping here, scraps of paper, and then punched out scallop punch, just had a scallop punch, punched that out, stitched around it, added a brad with some layers of various flowers that I had tacked on there, and a scrap piece down here that might get lost. But this is a pretty piece that was crocheted on a vintage doily, and I liked that just at the bottom of that pocket. And here I've got a journaling card with some stickers on it and the definition of the word content, and you could journal on the back. Goes right in there. Love the fox. And over here did some brown thread stitching, and I liked this. I ran this scrap piece of paper through my Zetter binding machine, and I liked the texture it gave to the edge of that as stamped leaves are falling. And over here another pocket. This is an embossed and glittered sheet of paper that's been around for a long time, and I'm finally making myself use it up. And I've got some silk leaves and a piece of brown rickrack, and I stamped some leaves and then added some various papers and cardstock that can be used either as is for journaling on the back or as collage material anywhere in the journal. And over here, I like this page too. This is a coffee dye page. I've added lace at the bottom here, and at the top, I've taken this Fox digital image and put it on a scallop that I punched out of cardstock, and then did some heat embossing and put the gold around it. I really liked that. some more collage, and I like the layering. Look down at the bottom here, and in this pocket, this was supposed to be a postcard, and turned it into a pocket with some stitching and made this tag. And I like the fabric that's up here at the top, some layers, and you could journal here. Very pretty. And over here is some old written recipe paper, and I layered that on paper to reinforce it. And this is from the cover of a book that I came across at a thrift store, and I scanned it and worked it up in Photoshop and printed that out. And here, this is one of my photos of a covered bridge, and I added a text that I found online, and then layered some of these flowers at the bottom. And over here, gotta love this guy, he's too cute, this little squirrel. And he's attached with washi tape, and it opens up, and you can journal here, or place an image here, or write, whatever, and do some journaling here on the other half page of that coffee dye paper. And here I've stitched with orange thread to make the lines that can be journaled on. And down here, this pretty piece of lace trim, and I've added with a paper clip. I've layered up. You know me, I fuss because my fingers don't work. I don't think that's all that don't work, but anyway, here we've got some crochet and some eyelet, some pretty pieces of fabric, a pretty piece off of a handkerchief. You could journal here, or add a picture here and clip that anywhere in the book. And another thrift store find. It's got the squirrels on it and the leaves changing from spring or autumn or summertime over to autumn. And there I stamped some pumpkins and put some paper on the back for journaling. And my favorite fall image, I think, of all time is the little red truck. You could fill it up with just about anything, and I would just love it. So there it is with pumpkins. And here I've collaged this pretty image with some scraps of autumn paper. And here's another use of burlap with some lace on it. And this journal card has two of my images on it, one on the front, one on the back. I figured you could journal with a dark colored pen here. And there's that pretty gazebo in the background. Here we've got a scarecrow, and I've backed that with some of that burlap ribbon. I take the wires out of each side of that. I don't care for the wires in this kind of project. So I take them out and use the burlap. And I love this image. She's just so, so pretty. And I've added a strip of lace, some fussy cut butterflies onto this digital page, and here you can really see the cascading of those laces and edges and colors and textures. Just love them all. And over here, a quote about autumn, and I used that die cut pumpkin again as a tuck spot. And this cardstock opens up for some journaling space and tucks right back in there. And again, here's the second part of that vellum with the leaf print. Some coffee dye paper. Love the owls. Just love these owls. And aren't they pretty with all of these layers around them? And I've added a little scrap from a doily. And here's a collaged page. And back here, this is an envelope that I made. I stamped here. I found that stamp at a thrift store, believe it or not, for 50 cents, and I just love that. And I've made this out of scrap paper inside and out. I've collaged some fall colors, and here I added, I'm brand new to wax seal stamping. I'm trying to learn to do that, but I thought that looked pretty on there, so I just stuck it in the back of the journal, and there's that beautiful doily, and there you have it. Thanks for watching. I hope you've had a delightful summer. I hope you even have an even more delightful fall. I hope it's colorful and everything you're waiting for. So thanks for watching, folks. Thanks for supporting my channel and my shop. Take care of each other. Have a good day. Bye.